Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I've managed to find myself a Mark II Audi TT for 600 notes. It's got a load of problems. It's been stood for a long time. However, I've gone ahead and bought it anyway. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. Let me know if this video was any good, and yeah, let's get to the fixes. So this is how the car looked when it arrived. Paintwork on the car isn't actually that bad. However, if you look closely though, it looks like the car is sitting quite low. It definitely isn't on lowering springs. So that's probably a sign the suspension's collapsed. It's been there that long. So it's probably going to be a new set of springs and shocks all round. But we'll have a look in a minute when we get underneath. Inside the car, it's a bit of a state. One of the windows has been smashed. I think a cat's been living in here for some time because it absolutely reeks in here. Plastic trims all over the place. Things are broke. And also there's a lot of medicine in there. So yeah, if you need some medicine, guys, hit me up. So when I got the call asking if I wanted to buy this, I was told the only problem with the car is that it won't go into first, second or reverse. So I figured that would be a selector problem, and it was probably a good deal to have. Later I sort of found out when the car's arrived, the clutch pedal hits the floor, you got to pump it up, and 10 minutes later you got the clutch pedal on the floor again. So the car wouldn't actually select any gears anyway with the clutch pedal, indicating we had a bracket that was possibly seized on top. Anyway, I'll show you that in the next video because I really screwed things up. So the problem we were having was it wouldn't go into first, second or reverse, which was on this one. There's a bracket that goes here, and this bit had a plastic lever that changed up and down. So unfortunately it snapped and got stuck in there, and I've spent probably 2 or 3 hours trying to get it out. So I decided I would just remove this bracket here and pull it off over. Unfortunately, as soon as I did that, I could hear everything inside just crackling, coming out of gear and things. So yeah, the gearbox is going to come out. What a shitter. But let's get it done, eh? So a couple hours later, we removed the gearbox, sent it off to repair at Colebrook Transmissions. This is a 4-wheel drive system, so it's not the easiest to remove, and it definitely wasn't the easiest to put back in. So we fitted the new slave cylinder in the gearbox to stop the leak, and yeah, put it all back together. We had a driving car again then. Our next job was to remove the old suspension. Service the brakes, you clean up the sliders, make sure the pistons are all right. But if you look at the suspension here, it's knackered. It's like that on all 4 corners. So yeah, it took us a while to do that. Replaced it with some used parts, but much better than what it had on it. The rear of the car was much the same. Corroded suspension parts. You can see them leaking at the top. Also, all the suspension underneath had a bit of surface corrosion on, so we ended up wire wheeling it all and giving it a good paint underneath. One of the biggest problems we had with this car was bolts snapping. The 2 bolts on the front suspension, the pinch bolts, they snapped off. We had to drill them out in the end. I think that's basically because a lot of the components are aluminium, and then you've got steel going into them, like steel bolts, subframe and things. So things had just rotted and they were snapping all over the place. So that's the underside as it is now. Cleaned, painted and undersealed, so looking much better. The last mechanical fault we had was the engine light. It was saying blocked inlet manifold. So we dug out a lot of carbon buildup from the EGR. We also cleaned out the throttle body and the inlet manifold and put it all back together. Engine light went off. So with all that done, the car was almost complete. So I sent it over for an MOT and also got the tracking done.
That's a bit better. No leaks in there.
With all the mechanical work done, it was time to take the car for a spin. So, handed it over to our tamed racing driver, Kev, take it around the block. So, unfortunately, Kev failed at the first hurdle and he stalled the car. So this is our finished product. Lovely shiny TT, 12 months MOT on it. So did I actually make any money on this car? Well, we paid 600 with MOT, tracking, parts and a few other little bits. We paid another £500 on it. So that's come up to 1100 quid. Looking at similar cars online with similar mileage, they're going for about 2.5 grand minimum. So I think even if we sold this rock bottom price for 2 grand, we still made 900 quid. So I think that's pretty good. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. And end of this video there'll be a link for my Mark 1 TT project. So if that's any interest guys, have a watch and yeah, thanks a lot. Cheers guys. If you want to check out my Mark 1 TT project, click the link, subscribe or head over to my channel.